Is there anything good on TV tonight?
I think there's a new episode of The Kardashians on E!
Well, there's this special on the History Channel on St. Peter, so we should watch that.
Is that Kim's new husband?
St. Peter lived in the Roman Empire under Nero, who ruled from 54 to 68 CE.
Nero had pagan beliefs, while St. Peter, who was one of Jesus' 12 apostles, had Christian beliefs. This caused a problem because paganism was the main religion at the time, and the Roman emperors believed that people must worship the pagan gods in order to keep the well-being of the cities and the people. St. Peter challenged this by practicing Christianity. At the time of the Great Fire of Rome that destroyed the city in 64 CE, Nero needed someone to blame. He turned to the Christians and sentenced St. Peter to be crucified.
On October 13, 64 CE, St. Peter was killed. He requested to be crucified upside down because he didn't believe he was worthy enough to be martyred the same way as Jesus.
St. Peter seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, he seems much cooler than Kanye. Let's put on House Hunters International now.
Sounds good.
Our next project is designing a building for a client who would like it to resemble ancient Roman architecture.
How about we use the style of Donato Bramante?
Who is that?
He was an architect in the 15th century who designed St. Peter's Tempietto and created the blueprint for St. Peter's Basilica.
Bramante built St. Peter's Tempietto in 1502, and it's located in Montorio, Rome. It was built on the spot where St. Peter was killed, and inside the temple is a hole to mark where he was crucified. This became a holy site for early Christian martyrdom. It was built on commission from Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile.
After St. Peter died, he was buried in the Vatican necropolis, a burial ground at the time, which is now the site of St. Peter's Basilica. During the 4th century, Roman Emperor Constantine built a church where St. Peter is buried to honor the first pope. In the 16th century, Pope Julius II intended to restore the church built by Constantine, but then decided to completely rebuild it. In 1503, Bramante won the Pope's competition to create the blueprints for the basilica. After Bramante died in 1514, Raphael took over the construction, followed by Michelangelo, who sought out the project until the end.
Of course, his work marked the beginning of the High Renaissance.
I think we should put columns in the front of the building that resemble the Tuscan order columns on Bramante's Tempietto. There are 16 Tuscan order columns surrounding the Tempietto. Tuscan columns are very similar to Doric columns of ancient Greece, the only difference being they tend to have a very plain design or none at all. Tuscan columns also have a base, while Doric ones do not. The columns on the Tempietto were retrieved from an antique temple and then given a marble base to turn them from Doric to Tuscan order.
Great idea! Why don't we add a frieze above the columns showing some of our clients' favorite stories?
Above the columns on the Tempietto is the frieze, which is decorated with metopes and triglyphs. Metopes are the designs on the frieze. The metopes on the Tempietto represent St. Peter's martyrdom and show the story of how he was crucified. The triglyphs are the 3 vertical channels between each metope. The building should be centered around a large ribbed dome like Bramante had planned for the basilica.
So it makes most sense to make a blueprint a Greek cross.
Bramante had originally planned for the basilica to be in the shape of a Greek cross with a high dome. The Greek cross was much different from the usual basilica plan because it had 4 equal hallways that led to the center of the building, while the normal basilica plan at the time was one long hallway leading to the altar. Bramante chose the Greek cross because of its beauty and uniqueness. The dome of the basilica is its central unifying piece, which is what Bramante intended it to be. Today, the dome on St. Peter's Basilica is the tallest in the world at 445 feet. I know Bramante was a Renaissance artist, but how did the Tempietto reflect this time period?
Well, the Tempietto had a central plan layout which was very popular during the High Renaissance. If the building was rotated, it would look the same from all angles. Before building the Tempietto, Bramante studied the Roman writer Vitruvius, who wrote the 10 books on architecture. In this, Vitruvius stressed the importance of proportions on buildings. He also claimed that a structure must exhibit three qualities, which are solidity, usefulness, and beauty. The Tempietto portrays all of those qualities. Along with the qualities that Vitruvius stressed, the Tempietto is proportional all around the building. It looks the same from all angles, and each column is at a right angle to the nave, the center of the building. Bramante would be so proud. Let's get started!
Those are some really pretty buildings. Let's check out what's on BBC.
Sophie, Kate Middleton is not always on it. Tonight there's Bramante special.
That sounds good. He's cool too.
Welcome to Hard Talk. I hear you're a historian who focuses on Bramante and his works during the High Renaissance.
Yes, I've studied him most of my career.
Can you give me a little background on his early years?
Well, we know he was born around 1444 in Urbino, Italy, and he was born to well-to-do farmers. Bramante studied under Renaissance masters Mantegna and Piero della Francesca. After moving to Milan, the Sforza family made him the court architect.
Was he always an architect?
No, he started as a painter of illusionistic murals, but his early works didn't survive.
We all know Bramante is famous for his Tempietto and St. Peter's Basilica, but has he had any other influential works?
His first great achievement was a piece of the Santa Maria Church, but his most known works are the Tempietto and Basilica.
Interesting. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for coming.
It's been a pleasure. Who knew there could be so much about the Renaissance on TV?
I know, that's because all you do is watch the Kardashians.
Not anymore.